We're going to be talking about Stephan Sterns and Jennifer Soto's dark online activity. We're going to expose it here tonight. He's done the bulk of all the dirty searches and walking down the dirty streets of the internet. And if you are sensitive to adult topics and adult conversation, this may be one that you might want to step out and skip, because we're going to talk about some of the deviant behavior of Stephan Sterns before he murdered his girlfriend's daughter, Madeline Soto.
The images come to us from a variety of sources. So they either come from our field agents who do search warrants and seize computers, do forensic analysis on the computers or devices. Phones now are obviously popular.
And to do that, you need cyber sleuths like a mofo. You need people who are internet detectives, and good ones, because the information that Stephan Sterns put out publicly is out there for the viewing. Anybody could find it. It's public record. It's out there, and it's disturbing.
And what they're looking for is images that have never been seen before, which means they're new victims. There are victims who are being abused and who have not been identified or rescued. What we do here is we take all those images, we break down the background, the logos, anything you can think of in an image, and see what we can pick out.
But these are unrefutable facts, because his online footprint is what the investigators are going to be and have looked at. And that leads them, obviously, to the roadmap.
So it takes an investigator looking at it, and then in combination with the technology, to be able to figure out, how can we identify the people and the place in this image.
What he was doing and his deviant behavior, it's despicable.
The actual manufacturer to come back and say, yes, we know exactly where this playground configuration is. So it pointed us to this playground, this specific playground. At this point, we send this to the field, and the field go out and do knock and talks. They do interviews. This is a case where they would take that image, non-exploitative image, and take it to a school and say, do you recognize this child? Take it to a daycare. Do you recognize this child? Canvass the neighborhood, that traditional boots on the ground work.
Now, my good friend Plunder did a video that's really going to give you an outline of tonight, because I have a special guest, Oblivious Benson. She is, if she would have went into the career as an internet detective, as a detective in cyber crimes, she would be a first grade detective.
So this is an actual picture of that neighborhood. So now we know, all right, we're there, we're in the right place. Through the investigative work, the agents were able to locate the child in the house on the left. It was her father who was abusing her, and they knocked on that door and they got that child out, and they eventually arrested and prosecuted the offender.
Now we're going to be talking about his online footprint, and it's gross. It's disgusting. It's going to make you probably want to throw up in your mouth.
In fact, the notice of supplemental discovery for Sterns' case lists everything but this dating website specifically by name. There are lists of incident reports, applications, and affidavits for search warrants for a Fitbit account, digital content belonging to Sterns, an Apple account associated with Jennifer Soto and Madeline Soto. While I see search warrants for Discord, I don't see ones for dating websites specifically. As we know from previous research, Sterns used the name Sustanet on Reddit as his handle. According to the dating website, Sustanet joined FetLife on August 23, 2022. That same day, he followed a user named Alexa Lee, who describes herself as a 100% natural-born sinner and a person who loved bruises, among other things. No other activity, photos, videos.
100% natural-born sinner should have been added to that profile. Is 100% demon, 100% evil, 100% freak, 100% psycho. Those are some of the things that should have been added to this profile. It was Stephan Sterns on his little kink episodes out there trying to lure other underage young children. And I wouldn't even be surprised if Stephan Sterns tried to lure both female and male children online. We don't know this as of yet, but the internet detectives from the respective police departments that are investigating this, and along with the FBI, I would presume, will be looking into that in the months to come. Nothing would surprise me about Stephan Sterns.
Writings or anything can be seen conducted by Sterns on the site, save for joining the announcements community. He only has the standard question mark as his user profile. Curiously, Sterns listed the word switch next to his handle, which is someone who is willing to take on either a dominant or submissive role in a sexual relationship.
Okay.
Do you know why all of these apps are considered the most beloved by predators? And I would even throw in a few others in there, but
Because the kids use it.
not just that, they all have mapping features, almost all of them. So in Snapchat, you think that I guess the glory of it, the thing that made them so popular is, you take a picture, it goes away right after, right?
Right.
Or they can't, if they try to screenshot, then you're going to be alerted. You're going to know they're being a pervert, and then you can block them, right?
Right.
Well, the thing that they don't tell you is that kids have to go in there, just like adults have to, and you have to go in your settings, and you have to disable the snap map. Otherwise, your location is always publicly available, and what's scary is it's by default.
Oh.
So just like you would have to kind of just know to go look up the
Right.
advertising part of your Facebook and turn that off.
And we can go into Facebook, which tracks, TikTok tracks, China.
All of it. Like all of these apps have a tracking.
They could turn your camera on. They could take over your audio on your phone and listen to you sleep, listen to you having
And
a
look at that.
relationship with your significant other.
Hot or Not, Grinder, Scout, all of these, one of the common things is that the algorithm will put people together who are close together
Right.
physically
Yeah.
by distance.
Further clues that this indeed is likely Sterns' account is the fact that he listed himself as a 38-year-old straight male from Kissimmee, Florida. Why would he list his real birthday and location?
Now, we don't know if she was using Discord or if this creep, Stephan Sterns, created an account for her and used her pictures. And I'm not saying the despicable pictures, but he could have just used a profile picture of her. And I call him a freak, and I'm being nice by saying that because I could be saying a lot worse things that we'd have to bleep out. But he could have created this Discord and was luring and trying to lure other young kids, young victims.
Yeah, agents use cutting-edge techniques to examine digital evidence, which in many cases uncovers information that helps solve criminal cases.
This room is all the workstations where the examiners sit.
The I-Team getting a behind-the-scenes look at the FBI's forensic lab in Boston. Here, agents and members of an elite task force that includes local law enforcement officers work to track down those who are allegedly involved and left digital fingerprints behind.
If someone's planning to rob a bank or commit an attack somewhere, there's going to be some sort of traces of that on there. So it could be anything from text messages, searches online, it could be pictures they've taken, it could really just be anything.
Agents say during investigations, they've found incriminating information on drones, car systems, game consoles, and other devices that record data. In some cases, retrieving information that the suspects may have believed was gone.
What is significant about Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022, the day Sterns joined the site? Why did Sterns go through the trouble of setting up an account and following the self-dubbed Twisted Temptress, Alexa Lee, that same day, the only person he appears to have followed? Did he meet her in person? Did he share any deep, dark secrets and messages with her? Or did he just admire her from his glowing screen?
By using an account. This is commonly done by pedophiles, folks. We see it all the time. He could have created this Discord account and used it to communicate, to try to lure in other victims.
So imagine you're a
the app
predator.
that Stephan Sterns was using with the check marks here? Is
The
that
ones
what
with the check marks are the ones that I was able to verify accounts for under his IP, his email address. It says up there, it's either cache of data, which if you delete, let's say you go on,
bigger? Can you pinch on it and zoom that screen?
wouldn't it be funny if that's the one thing I can't do?
No, you can. Okay, good.
Figure it out. There we go.
That's awesome.
Odd as Omegle, he did have, but I couldn't confirm it. Other than screen name, the only other two people who ever used Sustanet as a screen name in the history of the internet prior. By the way, you always have to look at prior to his arrest. After, people are going to make fake accounts just like they did Coburn.
Delete something, even if you do successfully delete it off your device, there may be traces of it other places. There's going to be something somewhere.
But before, there were only 3 people on Earth who used that screen name. One of them, specifically that one, tied to a Gmail account, and that would be a band. And then a Polish guy who's into skydiving and does have a chatterbait. He's not hurting anybody.
Yeah, he's not married. He's single. Chatterbait away.
Yep. And people dox the hell out of him because they see chatterbait and they go, it must be Stephan. No, it's just another guy also looking at porn.
These are 12 verified accounts.
Yeah. And that's just on that list of the ones that are available for mapping, if you will.
And in the affidavit, we heard about Discord, right? Affidavit for a Google Gmail, Sustanet. He uses this quite a bit. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I can't overemphasize when you have somebody that's online and has free access to just your kids, your children, unless you're supervising them. This is what's out there. You got evil people that are dangerous, that are trying to engage and interact with kids on a regular basis. There's no other reason to start trying to give parental advice than to try to groom or start a relationship with somebody online that would lead to a meetup. Am I off on that?
No. You're dead ass right.
And look at just what I have highlighted here. This was stuff that we all speculated about, and it's, according to her, they met at Disney, according to the roommate.
And I was always looking for some, because that's not the type of thing he would type, even in his even in his kind of blog. He had a lot of blogs, by the way, back in the day.
Okay.
It was an odd behavioral pattern.
What kind of shit did he blog about, this guy?
Literally the nerdy. Like, this guy was really, he kind of went through a communism phase where he was obsessed with like World War II, then he was obsessed with communism, and then he was obsessed with Red Dead Redemption out of nowhere. And so he would basically blog about history, and he would fight with people on Twitter over, that's not why this happened in this war. And it was a lot of like, I'm allowed to be mad and white. Like, that was a lot of his, like, it was all just basically.
Oh, he evolved.
Yeah.
Pam Duvall wins the comment of the stream. Soto Sterns. I like that. But we do see quite a few times and quite a few instances. And if the percentage is even 5% of their employees, or even 1%.
Oh, 180 of their employees in 1 year alone.
I have a party, and my son, when my son was a teenager, he would ask, Dad, what's the password for the internet? My friends want to connect. If those friends connect, it's a wrap.
And now Timmy, Tommy, and Jacob are all your associates or your son. Right. In some instances, depending on age, it will automatically group them. So then what happens is, let's say, I know you would never do this, but let's say you rob a bank, right?
Ooh.
It's like, oh my God, this famous YouTube guy, he snapped because he couldn't get into the air show, and then he walked across the street and he robbed a bank, and he said, man, screw YouTube, and he went nuts, and now he's in prison. Can you believe it? And then the whole internet goes, did you hear about DutyRon? What happened? And they go, I need to find out everything about him because I bet he's done this before. And then they go look you up on Spokio, and they see little Timmy's name from 10 years ago. Right. All of a sudden they're on his page, die Timmy die, and it's like, oh my God, how did we get here?
He logged into my freaking Wi-Fi.
Behind me is the FBI field office in Salt Lake City, but the lab isn't actually here. It's in the gateway in a very unsuspecting building, and you'd never know that men and women work there every day to solve some of the biggest cases you've heard of. In a digital world, a lot of high-profile cases need experts to gather evidence.
We cover Utah, Montana, and Idaho.
And with high-profile cases like the Daybells, they call a special team right here in Salt Lake.
Obviously that's a huge cases that are out there that people have, rise to the level where people hear about it do end up here.
In an office building in the heart of the Gateway, the Intermountain West Regional Computer Forensics Laboratory, run by the FBI, works to solve cases.
Our job is to do digital forensics, examinations on computers, phones, drones, whatever has digital evidence.
Their job comes down to this.
So when you delete a file, you're not really deleting it.
And they're one of only 17 digital forensics laboratories across the country.
Any law enforcement agency in Montana, Idaho, or Utah can submit digital evidence to us.
How far does it go back where you can check them on Reddit, check them on all these freaky perv sites, and
so far to high school? Hold on.
You can trace his online footprint You have traced his online footprint back to high school?
Oh yeah, big time. The mid 2000s, we had stuff like LiveJournal, MySpace, Zanga, Makeout Club. If you were there, if you know, you know. Stephan had all these things. And because Stephan was clearly into young ladies for a long time, even when he was young, not so much younger though, like when he was young, they were his age. But as he got older in his 20s, there was a lot of talk. I'll just say this, there was a lot of talk on channels from old roommates. So in order to verify what those roommates said, I had to find them. I don't contact them, but I did look them up. I verified that they're real people, addresses, all sorts of things connected. So once I saw them, I started looking through their socials, and I started using some tools like Wayback Machine and kind of just going through old MySpace caches. And I mean, we've got a picture of him in an orange jumpsuit. He's got pictures of him drinking with the puka shell necklace and the crappy spikes.
I saw that.
Yeah, and he had a girl who did communicate with him through his Facebook before she obviously blocked him.
How easy or how difficult? And I know that you spent lots of time.
Because I'm nosy. I was literally just nosy.
Yeah, because you're a nosy Rosie, and you wanted to find out what this scumbag was up to online. And what you told me was poof.
All his friends kind of knew. They were like, he's dating a high school girl, which is super weird to me.
Yeah.
And then to see these same roommates who go on other creators' channels and openly talk about like putting cameras in the shower of their girlfriend's bathroom. He simultaneously was putting a lot of underage porn onto a server that was shared and public with the rest of his roommates. Listen, we know you did this, but we won't say any because, you know, you're letting us stay, but don't do it anymore and apologize. And then one day the mom shows up with some manila folders and is like, GTFO, here's some money, zip it, end of story.
With the rescue of a child, you cannot beat that feeling. I cannot think of another thing in life that makes you feel that good, because you just helped save somebody's life.